This is the Slow Wardrobe. Come and have a look. Hello, welcome to episode 122 of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. My name is Linda. In this episode, I will give you a shortish update on my knitting and crochet antics, followed by a Layercake session where I am introducing new colors for the Layercake Playsuit in the warmer, sturdy linen quality, ready for the autumn. But first, a knitting and crochet update. Well, I finally got my mojo back working on my MiZZo-NOT sweater, as I keep calling it. My own take on the MiZZo-NOT jumper pattern that was made popular a couple of months ago by Millie from ArtYarns by using four, it was in her case, different colors of ArtYarns Merino cloud, what's it called? Gradients? Merino cloud Ombre, which is a 4-ply yarn, a very poofy 4-ply yarn, so you can knit it on relatively large needles. She used those 4 different ombre colors, multicolors of that ArtYarn Merino cloud to make little nuggets of yarn. Little nuggets, I mean small amounts of, literally little nuggets of like 5 to 7 grams each. And mixing all those different colors up, all those nuggets up, and then knitting them up in quite random fashion. The MiZZo-NOT jumper or sweater is a jumper that was designed to be knitted using leftovers of yarn, but by using 4 different colorways of ArtYarns Merino Cloud Ombre, you can coordinate the colors throughout and still have a very stripy, very multicolored jumper, but not focusing on using leftovers. So I really like that idea. I loved the execution, but I did not like the very traditional jumper shape of the pattern. So instead, I started doing my own thing, and I created a bit of a rod for my own back in terms of making things quite difficult for myself, because I decided to go for that shape that I kind of keep chasing with a lot of the jumpers that I knit when I'm doing my own thing, which is very boxy, very wide, fairly cropped, and slightly longer in the back than in the front. I did the same thing this time, but because of those chevron shapes, I came up with the idea of doing a raglan sleeve. The thing is, though, that of course, if you have a raglan shape that is this wide, or a jumper shape that is this wide, then you end up with a raglan shape for your sleeves that has a very shallow line going up when you are looking at the panels of the body, but a very steep line going up when you look at the panels for the sleeve, because you don't get the kind of 45-ish degrees of gradient of diagonal line that you would get with a more traditionally shaped jumper. You just get these diagonal lines, 45-degree-ish. And with me, of course, that turned into a completely different story because of that very wide boxy shape. So the other thing that I had noticed in the jumper pattern that everybody else was using and that Millie had knitted was that to create like straight lines at the end, because of course the chevron creates a zigzag line both at the bottom and at the top of your knitting. So to get rid of that zigzag, you can fill in the little triangles that you have at the top and bottom with just straight stocking stitch. And I had noticed that, and I didn't like that at all. To me, it felt like a bit of a cop-out to lose the pattern of eyelets and central double decreases that create the diagonal lines of stitches in the first place. So I wanted to keep my stitch pattern and that rhythm of double decreases and eyelets going right to the edge. So that meant that I had a very complicated set of little short rows to knit to accommodate both an edge as well as a diagonal edge. In order to mitigate some of the potential uneven bits that I was going to end up with in my knitting, because I did not know how well I would succeed in that, I figured that I could come up with an edging for every panel that had that same kind of look and feel of the double line of eyelets that you have in between the chevron shapes. So both my panels, my front and back panels, as well as the edgings, the diagonal edgings of my sleeves, have got these eyelets in them, because that will accommodate any wonkiness in my knitting. Well, my knitting is not too wonky, so that's all right. And I'm really pleased in the end with how it's ended up. I've literally just this past weekend finished knitting the sleeves. I had knitted both sleeves to the point of having to start doing my diagonal decreases, and then I had started that on one sleeve, and I knew I was not going to write up a pattern because it would be diabolically complicated, really diabolically complicated what's going on here. My pattern writing skills aren't good enough to represent that in a way that can be successfully and satisfactorily replicated by other people, other knitters. So I'm not saying diabolically complicated to kind of, beat my own drum, but to more signify my lack of pattern writing skills. My eye for detail is wonderful while I'm working with the yarn, but to then translate exactly what I've done and how I've done it onto paper to capture it for somebody else to replicate, I end up being really impatient. So fiddling with it and making it look fantastic, I love, but I then don't want to replicate that. So I ran into the problem that I had to come up with some creative solutions while I was knitting these diagonal lines on sleeve 1, and I had to capture that because I had to replicate it on sleeve 2. So lo and behold, I stopped knitting altogether and I just lost my mojo to work on this jumper until I woke up one night at 3 o'clock in the morning moment and realized, hang on a minute, why don't I just do both sleeves at the same time? So when I do something creative at the beginning or at the end of a row of sleeve 1, I can immediately replicate it on sleeve 2 rather than having to write it down and then later on remember or work out from my notes exactly what I did. So by knitting both sleeves together again, I was back on track. And this past weekend with the beautiful weather, I just knuckled down and sitting outside in the shade, I worked on my sleeves, managed to finish them, and then kept going to put the whole jumper together because I could not wait to see how it would look on. So another thing that I did, once I had finished the sleeves, of course, I needed some kind of treatment around the neckline. I had already created the same diagonal lines of little eyelets along the front panels, which finish here. And I had live stitches on at the top of both of my sleeves and the top of my back panel. So I thought, well, what am I going to do in terms of treatment around the edge of my neckline? And I realized, because I had kept the last 5 stitches of that edging live on my front panels, that I could just treat that almost as an I-cord, i.e. I would keep knitting my 5 stitches and pick up live stitches from the sleeves and from the back panel, just keep knitting around, and then once I got with that open eyelet, I-cordy type treatment, once I got to the top of my other front panel, I could just graft those 5 stitches together and be done with it. So that's exactly what I did. In the process, I realized that the neckline was going to end up being too wide, which was partially because of the knitting being relatively loose. Using relatively large needles for this yarn, you end up with very stretchy knitting. So what I did to address that is the little short row triangles that I knitted at the tops of my chevrons here. I only had to do 2 because these both were half chevrons, and then I've got my sleeve here. So I only had to do 2 little triangles of short rows. And what I did with those short rows is I proceeded with my central double decrease, but I didn't put in new eyelets. So the number of stitches in between my 2 rows of eyelets decreased. I literally decreased that number of stitches by half. I went from 6 and 6 stitches to 3 and 3 stitches. So as a result, that started to pull my neckline together in the back. I also knitted these little triangles on top of my shoulders, but at that stage I had not thought yet of the fact that I could decrease very easily by keeping my central double decrease going and not putting my eyelet yarn overs in. So my triangles on top of my shoulders keep the number of stitches the same. It doesn't have a decrease of stitches on that section. And when I then thought of decreasing stitches in the back, I thought, oh, maybe I should redo the shoulders. But because by then I had sewn the raglan sleeves together, the raglan lines, those shoulder lines together, I could actually put the jumper on and see what it looked like when I had it on. And the fact that I had not decreased the number of stitches on the tops of my shoulders meant that the way that the jumper sits there works really well with the shapes of my shoulders. So even though that neckline was still very wide, because I had the decreases in the back, those shoulders were being kept in place and they did not start dropping off me. So I really liked that line. But the front of my V-neck did come down a little bit too low. So I thought, well, maybe I can work with some ribbon. I often use colored ribbon that I put behind my knitting to make sure that I take the stretch out. And then I had this sudden idea of using the eyelets to take some ribbon. I've literally used a piece of self-edge here that we always use to tie our parcels with. And I've got some really, really nice hand-dyed silk ribbon that I could use, diagonal on the bias cut silk ribbon that I was going to use, but then because I wanted to show you here what I wanted to do with that neck treatment, I thought, well, I'm going to grab some self-edge and pull that through. And of course I've used the color of self-edge that goes nicely with the jumper, and now I like it so much that I don't want to take that out anymore. So that's the way it's going to be. Forget about the hand-dyed silk. I'm going to stick with my raggedy piece of linen self-edge. I think it suits the jumper really well. And now I've got a neckline that sits beautifully on my shape. It's perfect for my size. But I can also let it down and pull it up a little bit further, depending on what kind of look I'm after. And because the jumper has got so much bias movement in it, because it's so loose, nice and loosely knitted, the jumper accommodates all the fiddling around with the neckline that I do beautifully. So it just stays very drapey and it looks really nice. Meanwhile, the sleeves come down to about bracelet length. So if I want to, I can add a cuff to it. But, and same goes for the bottom of the jumper. And I definitely want to do something. I understand that it looks nice to just have the little chevron shapes, but is not enough. I do want to put some kind of finish both on the sleeves and on the bottom of the jumper. And because I've been doing something here with linen, now of course I'm thinking, ooh, can I do something else with linen at the bottom of the jumper? I have no idea what shape that would take. I need to think about it. I'm probably going to knit a little cuff here to see whether I like it and whether I like straightening the edge or what. I don't know yet, but I'll keep you posted on that. At the moment, I'm very happy with how far I got. I have some long ends that I've got left over from literally sewing up my seams, so I'm going to take care of any ends that I find. I've already woven in the ends on the inside of the jumper for as far as I had them, because I just went for the, knitting some stitches together when I changed colors. That all went beautifully. So I don't know yet how I'm going to finish the sleeves. I will show you next time when I come back, hopefully with a finished jumper. Maybe even be able to wear it. We'll see. But so far, I'm thrilled with my progress. I'm thrilled with the jumper. I think I'm going to end up with a jumper that I'll actually wear, because I'm notorious for making them and then not wearing them. This is the back again. You can see how that drapiness works really well as the folds of the chevrons just literally hang down, and then having it slightly shorter in the front, which of course looks fantastic over the top of a playsuit. So far so good. The only other thing I've been working on is another one of my little scarves, my little crocheted scarves. I don't know whether I showed you this at the beginning, the little section that I crocheted in this beautiful stitch. Of course, I've forgotten now what it's called. I'll put it down below. Everything is going, oh yeah, it's, no, I thought it's Suzette stitch, Suzette crochet stitch. So this was the first little just doodle that I crocheted to see the stitch in action. I love it. I have, as I've shown you already, now crocheted 3 or 4 different little scarfies that I now want to give edgings in linen as well. So it's definitely a thing to combine my linen with my knitting and crochet all of a sudden, but I haven't worked on these because I was finishing my jumper instead. And before I got the rhythm back with my jumper, I did some crochet again to make yet another one of these little scarfies in the same Suzette stitch, using the the wine color of my linen 3-ply. So that's been everything in terms of knitting and crochet. I'm absolutely melting here, so I'm going to pass you on to my other self and show you all about the new colors of the Playsuit. I hope you enjoy. I realized when the autumn colors that I had ordered a while ago again already for the heavier linen came in, that a wonderful way to introduce them was with a garment that show a lot of fabric. And then when I looked at my calendar, I realized that of course I had done the stripy capsuit pre-order earlier on in, I think, late spring, early summer, but we didn't do any pre-orders yet for our beloved Playsuits. So 1 and 1 makes 3, the new autumn colors in the Playsuits as a pre-order for you to choose from. I have started with the same fabric that I was wearing in the newsletter, the large new bright check, which I have toned down a little bit. I try to start the introduction of every color worn with a top that kind of goes and really coordinates rather than contrasts with the Playsuit that I'm wearing it with. And I thought sangria makes a wonderful combination with this large bright check. Of course, I could take it in lots of different directions, but for reasons that are obvious with the colors that you can see on the Playsuit, the sangria is a color that is kind of muted. It mutes down the Playsuit a little bit, and it doesn't clash or stand out in any way. It really lets the Playsuit shine with the wonderful colors that it's got in it. You may remember I already touched on it when I introduced this new fabric in the recently introduced Easy Dress, that the previous incarnation of this bright check had both a like a turquoise stripe or brightish blue stripe, blue-green stripe, and quite a bright chartreuse stripe running through it. I thought that that really freshened up the fabric, but some of you really weren't keen on the contrast that those two colors created with the rest of the fabric. So I have moved/removed them and played around with the colors. There are actually a lot of different colors in this bright check than there was in the previous one, and they are ordered in a different way to create a fabric that is really nice and easy to combine with your other layer cakes. Yes, they are bright checks, but as with all my bright colors, they're not too loud. They blend very easily with the rest of your wardrobe, and I hope that you agree that that has worked really well with the large bright check. So in terms of sizing, I'm wearing a size 2 Playsuit because of my current sizing. I can just about still fit a size 1 Playsuit, but I thought, especially with all the changeovers I have here and the fact that the size 2 in the Playsuits is by far the most popular size, I thought I'll make size 2 samples to show you what that looks like on my current size. Like I said, I'm on the cusp between a 1 and a 2. And you can see that if you then size up to the 2, it's not like all of a sudden you're wearing this massive tent. Because of the big armholes, the linen just kind of flows with your body, skims your body, rather than accentuating certain curves. And as a result, you end up with a very pleasing silhouette. Now, the other thing that I've done is made this Playsuit in the medium length. So with my 5'10", you can see that that's very clearly cropped on me. It's not full length. And I wanted to show you that if you order a Playsuit in a shorter length than you normally do, it'll still work really well. It just creates a different silhouette. Of course, that drop crotch hits a little bit higher. It's almost between my knees on this shape and size, and you'll see the difference when I show you the long length in the size 2, how big that difference is when you're adding those 4 inches and you turn it into a full-length garment. So, of course, I can't pass up the opportunity to create a really zingy outfit by pairing this Playsuit with a very bright color. And of course, what brighter do we have than got it right here. Of course, I can't produce it. What is that with me? I can't ever think of all the wonderful names that I cook up myself when I'm in front of camera. So apologies about that. Of course, this rant has given me enough time to remember magenta. So I'm going to put on a magenta step top as a wonderful extra layer when you're wearing a Playsuit. If you wouldn't wear anything underneath the Playsuit, then throwing a step top on top finishes the outfit and takes away the glare at the side with the low armholes. So here comes the step top in magenta. Because the weather is still very warm and summery and lovely at the moment here in the south of England, I've taken off that sangria cocoon organic cotton love top that I was wearing underneath the Playsuit. And so just wearing underwear now under the Playsuit, and then adding that step top on top. Lovely silhouette. And I've kept the bottom of the Playsuit open. This is definitely something to be recommended, especially when you're wearing this in a transition period and all of a sudden you get too warm wearing that Playsuit. Then unzip it and get some air moving through. And of course, when you're wearing a Playsuit in a crop length like this, then you don't have to worry about stumbling over it or anything like that when you are unzipping it. And you can actually wear it as a dress like this. I definitely have Layercake lovers who combine a Playsuit like this with a pair of trousers or leggings, for example, and wear them combined like that, and it always looks great. So another color that I will show you to go with this chameleon of many colors, because of course this goes with just about anything in the collection, but one color that really jumped out when I was looking around, I thought, what will I show the large bright check with? And that is Damson, which of course is like a muted blue color, and it is more likely to go for, that you would go for something in the pinks or reds, or go for one of the teals in this fabric, or of course one of the many greens. But don't forget your blues. There are plenty of blue squares in this fabric, and I will show you how lovely this goes with Damson. This is the easy dress in Damson, very recently introduced, and want to point out a couple of things. Immediately you can see squares that are virtually the same color as Damson, even in the small bit of Playsuit that you can see peeping out from underneath. But also, what a wonderful combination of garments to wear a Playsuit with an easy dress like this. This is the smaller size of the easy dress, and as you can see, even if you wear it with a size 2 Playsuit, which of course has got plenty of volume at the bottom, it doesn't look like the dress is in any way constricting the flow of the Playsuit. They look wonderful together, both in color as well as in shape. So Damson, one of the blues that goes really well with the large bright check. Time to move on, because we've got 5 different Playsuit colors to get through. So I'm going to grab the second color. It's back this autumn. Turmeric, first introduced 2 years ago with the introduction of the Love Dress in the spicy colors, and not seen before in a Playsuit. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity, bringing it back with a bang, with a Playsuit, and combined with, of course, the Turmeric cotton, organic cotton love top. Wonderful combination. They look great together, and they can form a wonderful backdrop for other pieces that you wear on top. But just by itself, I mean, isn't this color lush? It is a warm color, of course, but even as a winter, I'm a sprinter winter, so the coolest, coldest colors look best on me. But look what this color looks like even on a winter season color person. It's great. And if a color like this close to your face doesn't work for you, then of course push it to the bottom half of your body, wear other things over the top, or wear something like this as baggies. We'll do baggies again in the Turmeric as well, and that goes for the top as well, of course. If this is not a good color for you to wear as a base layer, as a top, then of course we've got the baggies in Turmeric as well, in the organic stretch cotton. But let me grab something to throw over the top, and of course I've got the perfect combination lined up. Mixed Spice in a long duster, and of course Mixed Spice, which again first introduced in the same season that we first saw Turmeric a couple of years ago. I brought Mixed Spice back earlier this year in the lighter linen, so that we could make light and flowy long dusters with it, amongst other pieces, some of the dresses as well, of course, not too warm as an alternative in that medium weight linen, and wonderful in combination with Turmeric, because of course they've got a color in common. In this case, it is that tobacco-ish kind of, I always call it tobacco, but maybe I should call it Dijon mustard. Maybe I should just call it Turmeric, but not quite, because it's the brownish color that is in Turmeric combined with a brighter yellow. And here, that brownish color, again, maybe Dijon mustard, is combined with magpie to create this beautiful shimmery kind of brownish color. And then of course when you get up close you see that actually there's blue in this, which from a distance you don't really notice. But wonderful combination with turmeric. Of course we don't have to keep it in the browns and yellow corner. We can go for some contrast. So let me grab a beautiful contrasting color. It's got nothing in common with turmeric in terms of shared shades, but it's a beautiful contrast to wear with it. This is a smock in Royalty. Of course, Royalty, a cross weave of a purple, a beautiful red purple that is in, here we go again, Blackcurrant and teal. The two combined make this stunning dark shimmery teal color that has this purple hue to it when you come closer. Of course, nothing in common with the yellow and brown colors in turmeric, but boy do they make a lovely pairing. What do we think? Beautiful, isn't it? So moving on again, I'm going to go to the next color of Playsuits, because like I said, I need to keep moving on. So I only show like 2 or maybe 3 in some cases outfits with every color of Playsuit. It's just to introduce you, of course, to them, and to also keep the madness with all the different colors at bay and not confuse you to the point where you think, oh, I can't bear this, and walk away. So trying to create a balance and hit a balance here. Let's move on to color number 3. I'm back into the regular length here, size 2 regular length in the new color called Jungle. Jungle really looks quite nice with the teal in the organic cotton. Of course, you can see it's not a complete match because this is a blend of teal and a really nice grassy green, which makes for this beautiful, intense green color. It's one of those colors again that just shimmers when you see it up close, because when you do look up close you can see that bright grass green right next to the bluish teal, and together they just make magic as a color. So Jungle back in the regular length, and of course I have to show this color with the Royalty that I just showed you, because of course they've got a teal in common, but then with those big contrasts of purple and the grass green that they've been cross woven with. So let's see how they make magic together. This really emphasizes how blue Royalty is when you see it right next to the bright green color of Jungle. And although Jungle has the teal in it, it really is a bluey green. It's not a greeny blue, it properly is a green color. And you can see that now. You can also see how the teal in Royalty pulls at the teal in the top that I'm wearing, where that top looks quite similar to Jungle when they were just worn together. And now by bringing in the Royalty, all of a sudden there seems to be a bigger contrast between Jungle and the teal of the top. I love how colors play together like that, and how you can sometimes not predict those contrasts. I didn't know that this was going to happen. I just put it on. I thought, oh my gosh, look at Jungle greening out in combination with the Royalty. So let's grab a contrast color, just like what I did with the previous outfit, and go in the different direction. I'm going to make this more purple. Let's see what happens. Back to all out Jungle in all its glory. Let's admire it a little bit more before I cover it up. But you can see what's coming with the cap top that I've put on in who knows what color. The beautiful Nightshade purple, and contrast, like I said, with the teal and the green in Jungle. Of course, opposite ends of the a color spectrum, and they really zing together. So I wanted to show you this cap top just to suggest one more time that it is the easiest way to throw on a little top and cover up the tops of your arms and solve the big armholes, looking into the big armholes with the Playsuit, and create a big outfit without covering your arms completely, and making it really suitable for warmer weather. I can then unzip it as well, of course, like I did before, and have it all a little bit more airy. But let me grab a smock in Nightshade and have a bigger balance, a better balance, a more complete balance between the jungle and the Nightshade, the purple and the green. Just a slither of jungle framing the neckline of the top and the Playsuit, just to bring that back, that beautiful jungle that's at the bottom of the what look more like baggies or trousers, when I combine it with a smock in Nightshade. Both very nice, vibrant colors, and both looking stunning together. Definitely a head turner in more ways than one, both in shape as well as those shimmery colors. And I continue getting that feedback from people who wear colors like this, who say, boy, I never get as many compliments on my garments, on my outfits, as when I wear your colors. So here's two that go together beautifully. Let's move on. Color number 4 of the Playsuits. Introducing what to me is a very exciting new color, Lava. The hottest color in town. Not really. Well, mind you, it's a pretty hot color. Lava is a cross weave of magenta and again that tobacco browny dark camel color that is in Turmeric and in Mixed Spice, for example. So they have a color in common, and by mixing that with the hot pink that is magenta, you get this beautiful shimmery color that at a distance is not too far removed from Sangria. It's a bit lighter, obviously, but Sangria comes the closest of all the tops that I have available to wear it with. So full outfit to show off Lava, and let me grab some more magenta to pull out the magenta in this very warm and fiery color. When showing it like this, you will be able to see, hopefully on screen, that by combining with the pink, the magenta pink, then you really pull that at that contrast with the brownish color in it. And you can see that Lava goes towards the orange, not the red, but the orange in the spectrum, because of course the yellow that is mixed into that tobacco color. So gorgeous with magenta, very exciting color combination because it's so vibrant, it's so clashy, but yet it goes so well together. Let me just, because I forgot to do that with the previous long duster, put these ties, close these ties, put the ties together, I was going to say, close the ties so that you can see how that affects the overall look of the outfit. I'm still wearing that red top and of course the Sangria top, and of course that would disappear here if I were just to wear the Playsuit and then the duster over the top, which is of course absolutely possible. If you keep the duster on, then it's no problem at all that these armholes are so low, and on a warm day it may actually be nice and airy to just have a Playsuit and then have a loose top like this over the top to keep you cool without feeling exposed. So let me talk a bit more about orange, because with the papaya color that we just introduced in the easy dresses, there is an even lighter, brighter orange, and let's see how that combines with Lava. Here is Lava together with papaya. And rather than grabbing the easy dress that I was talking about to having just introduced the easy dress in papaya, rather than putting that on again with lava, I thought, actually, I noticed that I had one of my gather dresses. This is a size 2 regular in the gather dress. So a little bit oversized on me, which I really like. I prefer these oversized silhouettes over more fitted silhouettes, and you can see, you know, it doesn't drown you when you go for an oversized look. And the regular length covers me until about mid-calf, and you still see the bottom of that long length Playsuit in lava underneath. So lovely combination, dress and trousers together. And of course, instead of a Playsuit, this could be a pair of baggies, for example, the cotton ones or the linen ones. It's just a nice way to cover up your legs completely and create some extra coziness and some extra warmth when it gets colder. But the main part of the exercise, apart from showing you the gather dress again, is to show how lava and papaya look together, because of course they have a color in common. They both have magenta in them. In the case of lava, it's with that tobacco color, that tobacco brown, and in the case of papaya, it is chartreuse. That makes, of course, lighter yellow, so also a lighter color of orange. Wonderful combination, I think, together. There is one other color, coming back to contrast. These are the oranges. Let me contrast that with a color that, again, together with lava, they don't have colors in common, but boy, do they look good together. Let me show you. Love top in Blackcurrant, not worn underneath the Playsuit, which of course is an option, but worn over the top, effectively turning the Playsuit into a pair of trousers and having that different balance of color by showing more Blackcurrant rather than hiding most of it underneath the Playsuit. So beautiful, I think, together. Blackcurrant and lava. Lava is turned, by the Blackcurrant, is turned into this very warm kind of combined color. It warms up even more with the Blackcurrant, even though, like I said, they don't have any colors in common. They're a beautiful combination. And I'm going to add one more contrast because, again, they work so well together and they are 3 completely different color combinations. Here it comes. This is hay. Of course, I said they've got nothing in common, and that is true in the sense that hay is made up out of natural undyed linen, cross-woven with chartreuse. So if I would bring in the papaya, then I form a bridge between lava and hay, because of course lava's got magenta in it. So does papaya, and the papaya has got chartreuse in it, and so does hay. But by combining these two that are worlds apart with a third color that also doesn't have anything in common, you can see that beautiful outfit, full of contrast, still goes together beautifully. So this idea of fabrics that have colors in common, it makes it very easy to combine, but you don't have to stick to that rule. You can take it in a completely different direction and do something like this and look stunning nevertheless. So, one color to go. Let's finally bring in the last color of the Playsuits, which is an oldie but a goodie. Dark teal is back. Dark teal, starting off with a very neutral looking top underneath. This is the navy organic cotton love top. Very nice, kind of muted, not screamy, very quiet backdrop for the dark teal to shine. And in terms of optic effect of how it looks, it just looks very similar to the dark teals. Not the same, but similar. And as such, dark teal can play the main role. I'm back in the regular length. The lava was the long length. This is the regular length again for the Playsuit, still a size 2. And I'm going to play with some contrasts, of course, to combine with the dark teal. Dark teal, of course, being a cross weave of black and teal, hence the name dark teal. And let's bring in some contrast to show you a beautiful combination of wearing dark teal and a lighter color to go with it. I'm grabbing one of the dusters again. It's that same hay long duster that I was wearing before, but hay, of course, having chartreuse in it, and I wanted to show it to you here with the chartreuse kind of held back and toned down a little bit with because of the natural undyed linen. But now I will turn it up a little bit by grabbing Fiddlehead. Remember Fiddlehead? A combination of chartreuse and a magpie, and of course magpie is a blue color, and you then combine that with the yellow, then you go into a teal direction, and then we still have the chartreuse being toned down in hay. So let's see what that does together. See how Fiddlehead kind of bridges the gap between the dark teal and the hay. I will take the duster off so you can just see that combination of Fiddlehead and dark teal, which I think is a beautiful combination. Hold this behind my back so it doesn't distract from the rest of the outfit. Dark teal and Fiddlehead, beautiful, brought together with by the magpie in the Fiddlehead, brought together. Well, I mean the teal and the chartreuse, of course, that is in Fiddlehead. So a really nice bridge color to then combine with something else chartreusey or not, because again we've got like a bluey and a yellowy or bluey and greeny together. Wonderful combination. So going to take this in one other direction and then finish up because I'm bushed. Of course, the large new check that I brought in last autumn, and by the way has not sold out. If you want anything in this large new check, let me know. I still have this fabric in stock that has not sold out, and it looks absolutely stunning with dark teal. I've got a square here that's virtually the same color. So it's one of the combined colors that looks really good with dark teal, because they've got virtually colors in common with those checks, but there's lots of contrast as well. And in this check are again so many different options. It's not just the bright check that works like a chameleon amongst the rest of your wardrobe. The large new check does a really good job with that as well, especially if you are into the dark teals and magpies and blackcurrants of this world, and then combined with more neutral colors and dark gray, for example. It's in the more classic direction of colors rather than the really brights, and therefore I think it's really nice if both checks can exist side by side. So that's it for this week. I said I'm bushed. It's not because I'm exhausted, but because putting all these different outfits on and taking them off with the warm temperature, it kind of takes it out on you. So it takes it out of you rather than on you. It takes it out of you. Get my English sayings right for once. I hope you enjoyed this again. Thank you very much for sitting through yet another episode of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. I'll see you again soon.